After 2019, then there will be more possibilities after 2019. I hope there are more years, I'm not suggesting.
I'm very curious. Last week, I believe DC Warner Brothers announced their slate through 2020. How much were you guys always planning on announcing this far out? Because you typically go maximum 2 years, and today you went through 2019.
We wanted to do this at Comic-Con. We wanted to do this at Comic-Con this year, and things were not set. Things for Civil War were not set yet. Things for, again, Guardians hadn't come out yet. So the comfort with dating a few of the other movies wasn't set yet. So the plan has been since a few weeks before Comic-Con, when we realized we weren't going to be able to do everything we wanted to do, to decide, okay, let's do something we either haven't done in a long time or have never done, which is a singular event, just to announce what we have when it's ready. And I thought that might be early August, I thought that might be September, and it ended up being today.
Speaking of things not being set, we saw Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, which is great, very great to see that. No confirmed casting for Doctor Strange yet. Can you discuss that?
Well, I can say that if it were confirmed, we would have introduced him today. But, you know, the rumors, I like that Chadwick, for the most part, I think there's always been speculation on lots of different actors for Black Panther, but I'm glad that that didn't leak in earnest the way every single other actor in human history that is of a certain age has been for Doctor Strange. So, like everything else, that will be announced later this afternoon, next week, next month, sometime before the release of the movie in November 2016.
So we've seen that we're going to have Black Panther and Captain Marvel showing up in solo movies, but are we going to see them show up someplace first to introduce them to the world, or are the solo movies going to be their first appearance?
Well, with Black Panther, what our little song and dance at the end was meant to signify, and I'll just clarify it for you, he is definitively a big part of Civil War. We will meet him for the first time in Civil War, in costume.
Kevin, right here.
Hi, Kevin. So will we see Cosmo have a bigger part in Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
The great thing about Guardians series is that there is no lack of awesome characters that we can do fun things with. Is Groot going to be small? Is Groot going to be big? Is Cosmo going to come back? Will he speak? What's that duck doing after he took that swig? Where's the collector? All of those are fun questions. We like having fun when we develop them. When Mr. Gunn returns from Tokyo, those will be all of the questions that we start to go through with him.
Kevin?
And Kevin, you had mentioned Black Panther is going to be in Civil War, and so we've mentioned Captain Marvel today. Is there any, and I know next month, next year, but are we going to find out like if anybody's in consideration for Captain Marvel, or?
My guess is rumors will start flying, you know, this second. The initial announcements in terms of attachments for that film will probably be writer announcements and director announcements, which I do actually expect will be quite soon. In terms of the actress, I think there's more time on that.
Here, Mr. Feige, I interviewed the Russo brothers like a month ago, I think, and we asked him about Civil War, and they said that it was very difficult and very unlikely to see a movie based on the time you need to set up the story, based on the fact that you guys don't have all the rights to portray the main characters on the big screen. What happened?
Well, the Russos do a very good job at trying to answer all of your questions without giving things away. And they are truthful in that it is very hard, and it was very hard, which is why we couldn't announce it at Comic-Con and why we couldn't announce it until today. Now, it's a big storyline. Of course it is. Winter Soldier was a big storyline. And make no mistake, this is the Civil War of the cinematic universe. Which will be greatly inspired by the Civil War of the comic universe, but we have a very different continuity going now. So this will be Civil War based off of all of the other films that you've seen up to this point, particularly Winter Soldier and particularly Age of Ultron. So I believe Joe and Anthony were being very, very good and very, very coy when they were talking about the difficulties of putting the movie together.
Kevin, right here in the middle, there's a green 900-pound elephant in the room. Mark Ruffalo was killing it as the Hulk fans
painfully absent from the timeline. What's going on with the Hulk?
Well, I wouldn't say Hulk is absent from the timeline. I would say Hulk is going to appear in many of those movies, particularly all those Avengers movies leading up to 2019. In Infinity War, Mark Ruffalo's on board for all those films, and we're excited to bring him to all those films. What happens with a standalone Hulk film? I'm going to say what I would have said about Black Panther last week, or Captain Marvel the week before that, or Doctor Strange the week before that, or Guardians of the Galaxy 2 years ago, or Ant-Man 10 years ago. We'll see. We'd love to do it. We'd love to find the place to put it. But right now, Hulk will be appearing with his friends in the other films.
By making this announcement today, you left some other rumors, I'm short, sorry. You left some other rumors really hanging in the air, like Hawkeye and Howard the Duck and all that. Does
Like
that...
Hawkeye and what?
And the Duck.
Hawkeye and Howard the Duck in the same question. I'm going to tell Jeremy. I'm going to tell him.
Please do. So does that mean that you're already working on Phase 4, or just that fans are going to have their rumors and their hopes?
I hope fans always have their rumors and their hopes. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to talk specifically about the storyline of any of those films, the plot lines of any of those films, what happens to any of the characters in any of those films, and frankly, even to talk about a character that, as I frankly just did with the Hulk, but who will be in what movies is a bit of a spoiler as to what may or may not happen to them in earlier movies. So let the rumors continue.
Kevin, back here.
Hey Kevin, thanks for doing this today. Quick two-part question. Can you confirm any of the reports that the Russo brothers might direct that two-part Avengers movie, and address the spate of rumors about Marvel and Sony possibly working out some sort of appearance deal for Spider-Man?
No, I mean, anything that wasn't specifically and obviously revealed today is either not true at all or still rumor until it's worked out.
Right here, Kevin. Can you talk about like just the expansive slate of phase?
Where are you?
I'm right here. Sorry.
Hey.
Phase 3 seems just enormous, and you were used to like 4 or 5 movies in each phase. Can you talk about like your plan going forward with like how many movies you plan on putting in each phase?
Well, I don't say we set out to say any particular number. Phase 1 was 6 films. Phase 2, and for those following along, you'll realize that Ant-Man truly is the end of Phase 2, and Civil War is truly the beginning of Phase 3. So that leaves us with 6 films in Phase 2, and it is 9 films in Phase 3. Now, one of that reason is because one of the films is being split into 2 parts, Infinity War, and because, frankly, the success that we've had, which is beyond our wildest dreams, I mentioned before that, 10 films, over $7 billion, it is amazing, and gave us confidence, and frankly, the studio is firing on all cylinders right now. We have the absolute best team in Hollywood, in front of the camera, behind the camera, working on these movies, which made us comfortable for the first time, as you saw in 2017 and 2018, that we had the ability to increase to 3 films a year instead of just 2, without changing our methods at all. And that's why there were 2 additional films we were able to put into that phase.
Kevin, back here.
Hey Kevin, how you doing? There was a really good misdirect with the Captain America title, but I think just to clarify for all of us, are there any plans for Serpent Society, or was that entirely a joke?
Well, there are always plans, but they're mainly jokes.
Okay, thank you.
Right here.
Hey, so you've announced Black Panther and Captain Marvel, female and African-American superhero solo titles. What are your thoughts in looking for directors? Reggie Hudlund, wrote Black Panther for a long time. Are you looking at minorities and women directors for those titles?
Well, we are, and we're doing what we always do, which is looking for the best filmmakers, the best writers, the best directors possible. So I'm not going to say for sure that we're going to hire any one demographic, but we're certainly meeting with a lot of people. Reggie, I've known for many, many years, and is a great guy. I think I'm meeting him again shortly. So we will do what we've always done, which is hire who we believe to be the best people to write the films and to direct the films. I want to say one more thing about Serpent Society. We had this great idea, right? Because Civil War is first up, but we don't blow our wad on the presentation with Civil War right up front. A guy named Mike Shula had the idea to put Serpent Society on there, and I thought it was awesome and hilarious. And then part of me thought, you know, people are going to love Serpent Society and think that'd be really cool. But we bet that they wouldn't think it was as cool as Civil War, which is why we did it. But now it's on the radar.
Okay. Not only has the slate increased in a pretty exciting ways, but you also have 2 TV shows on ABC coming up and several Netflix shows. How does that affect your end of things?
Well, it doesn't affect my end of things very much at all, because my end of things is exclusively the features. And Jeff Loeb runs our TV division, which is overseeing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, and of course all the awesome Netflix series. I have some smaller involvement in Agent Carter, because of Haley, because Luz D'Esposito did the short on which the show is based. He directed the pilot, just finished it. It's awesome, even now in its rough form. And I had asked to be a little more involved in that one, so I'm helping them out there. But primarily and exclusively, I want to make the movies.
Okay, I can either ask you about Inhumans or Big Hero 6. Which do you want?
Well, I don't know much about either, so try it.
Okay. Well, my favorite comic book series ever when I was growing up was when the Fantastic Four discovered the Inhumans. Obviously, no Fantastic Four in this upcoming one, but can you give us any idea of how you're creating the Inhumans world?
Well, obviously I know a lot about the Inhumans. Where they fit into the universe, you may find out sooner than you're expecting, frankly. I already mentioned in the presentation that there are seeds leading to Black Panther, leading to Wakanda, starting very, very soon in things you've already seen, and we'll see soon. Likewise, with Inhumans, there may be Easter eggs starting before you know it. Will those Easter eggs include the Fantastic Four? No. They will be introduced into the cinematic universe as it exists at Marvel Studios.
And what do you think of Disney Animation making Big Hero 6?
What do I think of Disney Animation making Big Hero 6? I think it looks awesome. I've heard it's awesome. The trailers are awesome. The characters look awesome. And I think Disney Animation is on a roll with what they're doing. Frozen dominated not only the planet, but my household with my 5.5-year-old daughter. True story. I could not get to sleep last night because for the first time in forever it was in my head. And I was like, I have to get to sleep, and this is in my head. So they're on a roll, and I think that's going to continue with Big Hero 6.
Kevin, back here.
Right here, Kevin. You touched on the reinventing of Captain America, the reinventing of Thor. I'm just wondering about the Marvel mindset and the writing and the tonal changes that are happening with the characters.
Well, I like to think it's a natural evolution based on what has come before and based on where we want to go. And I think in general, the tone of all of our movies are equal parts very, very serious and very lovingly respectful, and at the same time humorous and funny, and some more than others. But I think that is our default tone because that's the kind of movies we want to go see, and that's the kind of movies we want to make. Sometimes, as in Winter Soldier, the storyline calls for it to be a little more serious. Sometimes, like in Guardians, there are incredibly emotional moments and very serious moments, particularly the opening of the film, but also liberties to be much funnier and much sillier. We like having both of those ends of the spectrum to play with in all of our franchises, in all of our films, regardless, frankly, of what the A plot is.
Hi, Kevin. I'm a Nick and Nora fan, and I was wondering, whatever happened to The Runaways?
Well, The Runaways is still an awesome script that exists in our script vault by Drew Pearce. You know, frankly, the best thing that has happened with that script is what brought our attention to Drew Pearce, who ended up co-writing Iron Man 3 with Shane Black. We'd love to do something with Runaways someday. When there are television discussions and future film discussions, it's always one that we talk about because we have a solid draft there. But again, we can't make them all.
We're getting out to 2017, 2018, you're seeing 6, 7, 8 superhero movies a year, some of them a week or two away from each other and dating. When, from your perspective, in terms of marketing, especially to the general audience, our comic book fans per se, does that present a lot of challenges, something you're concerned about, something you think is going to shake out?
Asking about the challenges of so many superhero films in the market, I think that's a challenge that we've faced for many, many years. And that my general feeling is, let's stick to our plan. Let's keep doing what we believe in. Let's keep doing what the audience is telling us we're doing right. And our plan has never altered one way or the other based on what anybody else is doing in any genre, frankly, particularly any other superhero film. In terms of the dating, that's why we plant flags as early as we do to mark some territory, so that you can hopefully have some room. But the truth is, there are always going to be big movies on almost every weekend. And what we found so far is if the movie delivers, the movies will do well. And that's what we focus on, what we can control, which is the quality of the pictures.
Back here, Kevin.
With Scarlett Johansson being one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, why did you decide to not to give Black Widow her own movie?
Well, frankly, as I said in the presentation, it's about bringing new characters to the screen. Black Widow couldn't be more important as an Avenger herself. And like Hulk, the Avengers films will be the films where they play a primary role. Her part in Avengers Age of Ultron is very, very big, and further develops and further enhances her character. And the plans that we have for her throughout the rest of the Avengers saga is very, very big, and linchpin, in fact, to those films. So instead of take her out there, or instead of doing a prequel, which we haven't done yet, continuing the forward momentum of the continuity of the cinematic universe, of which Widow is a key part. Is that it, Peter?
You talked a little bit about Civil War. In the comic book storyline, I know it's going to be very different, but the comic book storyline has to do with secret identities. There really aren't that many secret identities in your Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you don't have Spider-Man. So how are you going to do Civil War?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but needless to say, the generalities of the act are the same. Something happens, perhaps it's cumulative for things that have happened through all of the movies leading up to this point, has made the governments of the world say, we need to have some oversight of these guys. They need to report to somebody. So it becomes more, falls under that umbrella versus take off your mask. I'm not wearing a mask. It's not about the secret identity thing as much as it is about overall who reports to who and who can agree to an oversight committee. Because as of now, in Avengers 2, there is no more World Security Council, obviously. There is no more S.H.I.E.L.D., obviously. Stark is paying for it. Captain America is running it. And things occur that make governments begin to question that. I think that's it. Devin?
You talked about how you want to make the movies and TV, but we have something Infinity War, which is going to really impact the entire universe, conceptually. Is there room for the Defenders to show up on the big screen in Infinity War?
The Netflix series are leading to a Defenders series, and Devin is asking, is there room to include them into the features at some point if Infinity War is going to be big? There are a lot of people from the movies in Infinity War. A lot of it is about space, and a lot of it is about, just what happens between now and then. But all of those things inhabit, however far on the outskirts, the same continuity. So certainly that opportunity exists. Is that it? That's it. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for coming out today. Thank you.